So, let me tell you what I know about dwarves. Very little. Think about it. So, I was wondering. My daughter was eating electrical cords, and I asked, "What can I do?" And I was told, "Ground them until they conduct themselves properly."
Oh my god!
Actually, I tell you what. Another thing, I bought 12 pieces of chicken from KFC yesterday. Finally, it's been on my bucket list.
Have you never bought
God's sake!
What?
Have you never bought that chicken before? Then
Don't try and derail it. It's not going to happen.
oh, just
No,
just asking.
just asking.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do cows have hooves? Because they lack toes. Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog 179. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And this week we'll be seeing how everyone's fortnight's been, because we were away for a fortnight because of various stuff. And then after that, we will be seeing how everyone's week's been. I've said that, didn't I? God, I tell you what, I'm on to the second beer. It's already gone horribly wrong.
Elvis has left the building.
Elvis has left the building.
It's all gone hop shape.
Yeah, Elvis juice has gone out the window, and I'm now on Hazy Jane, which has a ridiculous phrase on the side saying "embrace the opaque." No fucking idea.
Wow.
Anyway,
Rage the beige.
I'm hoping Hazy Jane is some kind of marijuana kind of thing.
Marijuana?
And I'm going to get stoned as well as drunk. But anyway, is it a CBT beer? I don't know. Anyway, so we'll see how everyone's week's been, fortnight been, and then we'll see if there's any feedback for the last episode, which was The Creator. And then we'll move on to this week's movie, which is Elton's choice, which was?
It was 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. Not Epping, Missouri, which I said last week or
Yes.
2 weeks ago. No, it's Ebbing, not Epping.
Yeah, outside Epping Forest.
Yeah.
three road signs outside Epping Forest isn't the same.
That's the Danny Dyer and Craig Fairbase.
Yeah. Or you slags.
Yeah, or you slags.
Yeah, 3 roadside cafes outside Epping Forest. Anyway, so we'll be getting on to that soon enough. So let's go around the table, find out what everyone's been doing for the last fortnight or so. And we will start, as ever, with you, Jim. How's it been, sir?
Well, increasingly hot, as it turns out. But only in a weather way.
No, right, yes, true.
But yes, we had a nice time away in the Yorkshire countryside
Mm-hmm.
at a very, very quiet little village called Gilling.
Nice.
It was obviously picked wisely because over the road we learned there's a little stream called Albeck.
Hellbeck.
Yep. So that this is clearly where we're meant to be.
Right. Yes.
But it's very nice. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, very quiet. The village base is quite small. Has a pub, most important, just over the road from where we were staying.
Nice.
Which was very nice and did incredible food. I can thoroughly recommend the Fairfax Arms. Very reasonably priced, but some absolutely incredible food, especially for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a bacon steak.
Bacon steak.
I didn't know such things existed, but it was exactly. The cut of meat looked like a steak, but it was just bacon.
Isn't that just like a gammon steak?
Oh, no. Because a gammon steak's like a big round flat piece of shite, but this was actually kind of like a proper bit of sirloin or
like a 6 foot, like a 6 foot rasher of bacon.
Well, no, it's like really thick. I say it was just like a steak, but it was bacon or ham, perhaps. But it was amazing.
Honey, I blew up the bacon.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know such things were possible, but miracles apparently do happen.
We're living in the future.
I know.
Bacon steaks are a thing.
Did they have like an Arctic roll that they shaped into, I don't know, a trifle as well?
Oh no, it's not like ponzu like that. It's just kind of like twists on. I mean, it's your classic sort of pub food, your ordinary steaks and burgers, but as the kind of the chef's menu. And so like the other time when I had a duck's leg, which was incredibly well cooked with roast vegetables, grilled peach, dolphin nose potatoes, which are just basically a wonderful way to have potatoes. And
So they took the duck's leg and then told it to op it. Yeah.
Jim, are you followed around by a magical strawberry that talks? Because it sounds like you're in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs at the moment.
Who, me?
No, Jim.
Oh, Jim.
No, this is where you get proper food if you leave Essex. Basically.
Oh, sick
Shots
burn.
fired there.
Shots fired.
What
Sick
were the chips
burn.
like? Were they triple
The
fried?
the chips were amazing. Proper home cooked chips.
Were they like a quarter of a potato?
No,
in those plates? Not like big chunky.
properly made chips. Yes,
Oh.
yeah.
Mm.
Although the bacon steak came with an absolutely incredible mash, topped off with like a mustard glaze sauce, which is just kind of oh my god.
Good Lord.
Yes,
Mm.
yeah. And fuck off.
To be quite honest, I don't think anyone can complain about background noises of cars today because I don't care what's going on. I'm not boiling my arse off for this podcast for nobody. So yeah, carry on, Jim.
Yeah, but yes, it's also for the. I mean, honestly, I've paid like twice as much for food in restaurants that hasn't been as good.
Oh, nice.
And it's actually a really good menu because it's kind of like, you know, you can actually order a starter, a main, and a dessert, and you will just be exactly nicely full.
Ooh, nice.
It's not one of these places where you kind of, I'll have a starter, and you've had the starter, and you go, oh, Christ, I don't want a main now.
I've made a terrible mistake.
I've an error. It's not like that. So, yeah, big recommend. Really just nice, friendly, proper traditional old pub as well.
Nice.
But it's also where we were. It was kind of basically anywhere of interest was literally 14 minutes away. So we had a nice few days going around, like say we went Revo Abbey, Bylands Abbey, went to Helmsley Castle, and some just lovely walks out around some old ruins and whatnot. And we had a great time. So that was very nice indeed.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's amazing. Well, I won't say have you done anything else because clearly you've been on holiday. So eating bacon steaks. You know?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Nice.
it's pretty good. We're probably going to go back there because it was a really nice, well-appointed cottage. It was like an Airbnb, and like Airbnbs, if you don't know, quite often the hosts will leave you a few bits. You know what I mean? This lady, she left us like full big super 4 liters of milk, so we didn't have to buy milk all week. Like a Marks and Spencer's lemon drizzle cake, and a big box, a big bag of basically Marks and Spencer's do Kit Kats but up the game. And it's kind of like you can this is just coming back here. We do, you know. It's not usually
Nice.
a jar full of Tetleys and a pack of digestives. This is quality. This is a quality place to stay.
Nice.
So we may well go back for my birthday.
Nice.
I say, but it's just in middle of beautiful countryside and just kind of like, everything looks like you're in a picture postcard, and it's kind of, that's what I needed. That's really what I needed, to just be away for a bit.
You really shouldn't actually be advertising these sort of things, Jim, as much as you like them, because you know what's going to happen. Someone's going to just go, "Oh, that sounds really good. Let's go there," and then they'll tell someone else, and someone else will tell someone else, and next thing you'll be like, "Yeah, motherfuckers, the whole place was overrun. It was like Glastonbury last week." And it's like, yeah. So awesome. Okie dokie. Well, brilliant. Okay, well we'll move on then. We'll move on from that. Elton.
Yes.
What's the deal with you, sir? What's been going on with your fortnight?
Well, I've been getting better. And
what is this, an Alcoholics Anonymous kind of thing? Or?
At many things. I'm mediocre at best at lots of things.
Right.
I was the last recording, I had somewhat of the sniffles.
You did.
And I wasn't feeling great, and I'd been feeling crap for the last 2 days. And under a bit of advice from my learned colleagues on the Black Dog podcast, I did one of these COVID tests.
Yes.
Yep, it got me.
Told you.
finally, 4.5 years after it all started, I got it.
God, you're so behind the trends, man.
I know,
Yeah.
flipping hell, gutted. But it's going to get everyone eventually, isn't it? And so yeah, 4.5. I don't think that's too bad. But I did a test, and I've never seen a deeper shade of black on the testing positive line at all.
Yeah, there's no doubt, is there?
Yep.
No, it was like, oh my god, it's actually burning through the table. It's that heavy.
Did it give you the result before you actually took the test? Is that how bad it was?
Yeah.
It was like sensed you on the force. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Just went, no
Oh.
need, sir. We
Yeah.
already know.
it's okay. We've got you.
But I
Nice.
didn't.
You put the little tab down, the little voice goes, no, mate, don't go anywhere. You're not going to have to wait for this one.
I'll tell you what. Don't put it up your nose. We can already tell you. Save
Yeah.
a bit of effort. Yeah.
So, but I didn't lose my sense of taste. Didn't lose my sense of smell. I didn't have. I had a slight cough, but it was like a mucusy cough. It wasn't one of these dry coughs that I've been told that you get.
Yeah.
It wasn't like well, it didn't feel chesty or anything like that. It was more throaty. But I had all the flu symptoms and everything like that, and I phoned in sick from work that Wednesday, and I'm so glad I did. I spent probably 90% of that Wednesday just asleep. I clearly needed it, and then it took about a week and a bit to finally get over it. I'm just over it now. I think I've got very light hay fever at the moment, so maybe that's why I'm feeling a bit chesty at the moment. But
Okay.
all better now, thank goodness. But it was just flu-y, so it was like a strain of the flu. But yeah, gutted that I got it. Really gutted.
Yeah, well, look at it this way. You got it, and you got a very slight sniffle and a little bit of flu symptoms. The first time I got it, I couldn't walk from the sofa to the bloody front door of the living room without feeling like I'd run a marathon.
Yeah.
So coming a long way with the with the 3 or 4 injections to the vaccines.
Yeah,
shows you the difference it makes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, nice. Well, good work. Good work.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very proud of getting over this now.
Well done, your immune system. Well done. So what else you done?
What else have I done? I think it was the Thursday. I was just watching films constantly.
Oh, blimey. Okay.
What did I watch? Oh, there was a Jake Gyllenhaal one that was pretty good. I think now. I was going through like a lot of army movies.
Jarhead, was it?
No, I didn't do Jarhead. No, it's a new one that was. I forget what it's called now. Damn it! It was pretty good. But then also I did a Mark Wahlberg one.
Oh dear.
Lone
So
Survivor, I think it is.
How's that working out for you? Say hello to your mother for me.
Yeah. Lone Survivor. Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
fucking awful. That really is awful. Yeah, go on, carry on.
I've never seen. There's 2 moments in that film where they get blown up and they tumble down a hill for about 10 minutes. It's fucking hilarious.
Nice.
They do that thing where they keep cutting, like jump cutting it, so you just see them keep rolling, and all you hear is "ooh, ah,
Yes.
ah, ooh,
Yeah.
ah, fuck, oh,
Yeah, it's like Homer Simpson falling down the ravine on his.
Which to me is always the best gag of the Simpsons ever, because they drive away and then he rolls back down on the gurney, doesn't he?
I'm gonna make it! I can't believe this.
Yeah. I'm the king of the world. And then it's no, and then they drive him away, and he's like, "Oh, almost made it," and then it's. Oh, by the way, the film you were talking about, if it's the one I'm thinking of,
Yep,
the movie, the army one.
Yep.
Was it the one where he went looking for his mate after getting out of the country?
Yeah, the translator. Yes,
Yes, it's called The Covenant.
that's it. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. There was another film that was exactly like it 5 minutes later, but yeah. But that's okay. Go on, carry on.
I also saw Imperium, I think it is,
All right.
with Daniel Radcliffe. Basically, Nazi Potter.
Nazi Potter.
Nazi Potter. Well, Harry, you are a wizard. You are a Nazi. Yes.
You're one of the chosen Aryan race, Harry.
He's a FBI agent who has to go undercover in.
Hagrid.
And it's fun. Once again, when you're ill, films are pretty good when you're
Oh,
you're
like
ill.
McGonagall.
Yeah. So
Look at my Tony Al, he's brought me some letters. Oh, he's brought me the newspapers. This is good.
The outpost is late. It is very inefficient. I will have it shot.
We are sending the gingers to the camps. Off you go, Ron. Get on this train. This train is not the Hogwarts train. Oh no.
This is not the Hot Walk Express. No. You will not be able to buy candy on this one.
No.
You will not need a return ticket.
The Bertie bots will not save you now. This jelly bean tastes of Zyklon B. What the fuck? Anyway, go on, carry on.
But yeah, it's. Oh my word! I forgot what I was going to say now. It's I had fun with it. It's, but it's really, really difficult seeing Radcliffe do an American accent and try to be an FBI agent. It's kind of beyond the pale a little bit.
It's kind of like watching your kids dress up as Doctor Who in a school play. You're just like, nah. Bless you. You're trying to wear someone's overcoat, but that ain't working.
You're doing really well, but it doesn't suit him as much. Although, yeah, I thought it was all right. I thought it was pretty good, but maybe that was the medicine that I was taking as well.
It was the delirium and the overheating and the falling asleep midway through.
Is it ibuprofen as well?
Ibuprofen.
Do not mock my ibuprofen.
I'm trying to think what else. I think that'll do for now.
Okay, fair enough. So then we'll move over to you, Mr. Barnard. How about you, sir?
Not really done that much in the past 2 weeks apart from work. Went out to the cinema to see Inside Out 2, which I thought was very good. There's some very nice little jokes in there, especially one about an 80s video game character.
All right.
And if you see, it's one of the sort of like the memories that this kid has, and you see that it's lower res graphics than everything else around it, which I thought was really nice. So it's like it's one of those. It's like the sort of textures you got early 2000s, where it's sort of the textures are slightly mushy. It's a little bit like that.
It's a bit PlayStation 2.
Yeah, that's it. So. But yeah, very, very good film. And the bit where he's trying to walk out of a door and keep reversing, turning slightly, going forward, reversing, turning slightly.
Right.
Very, very good. Nicely observed jokes. So again, I think the cleaners in the cinema are really, really bad. Too much dust in here. I'm writing a letter of complaint where that one's concerned. So there we go. What else did we do? Oh yes. I've been watching a show called Inside Number 9.
Oh, right. Okay.
Now I know it's just come to an end, and I've been meaning to watch the scene. We never got round to it, but then I noticed that the very last episode had been released. I don't think they're doing any more now. That's it.
No.
So I've started on my journey to go through the 9 seasons of this show, and I'm hooked from episode 1. For anybody that's interested, it's I think you call it a portmanteau series. Portmanteau series. So it's different stories every episode. There's no like running arc through anything. It's just the wonderfully dark mind of Reece Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton. I think the
Pemberton,
guys,
yeah.
Pemberton, that's it, yeah. You know, they do sometimes vary in quality, but they're never absolutely shit or anything like this. You watch it and you're going, yeah, that one was good. I like that. But then you come across ones that just, you sit there. The first one I saw, the very first episode, by the end of it, I'm like, shit, what the fuck?
What one's that?
It's called Sardines. Yeah. And
the one in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
God.
it's just that, right? At the very end, it's just you realise what's going on. And that's what I love about it. It's the fucking whatever it is, the moral of the story, the end of it. They're just, a lot of them are just really nicely sort of rounded off.
Yeah.
And you're always like, shit, you know, by the end of it. I think there was only one that kind of dipped out of that, and it when what was it? The 12 Days of Christine.
The Sheridan Smith one.
Oh man, yeah, that was
that's. I mean, God, we had such problems with dust in our house.
Fucking hell, yeah, same here.
Hell.
That was just. I've complained to the guys in work because that's where I was watching it. It's like, you realise the lunch area here is so full of dust, you fuckers. So yeah, Inside Number 9. I highly recommend it to anybody that's thinking of starting a new show. It's all on BBC iPlayer for free, so get in there and just watch it. It's great. What was the last one I watched? The Devil of Christmas was the last one I watched, which was like, right turn, anyone? Fucking hell.
Yeah, that was their Christmas special.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I loved the way it was filmed and everything. I think my favourite.
They actually filmed it on vintage cameras to get that authentic 70s feel.
Oh man, yeah, all of them playing their part really well, and it was all authentic 70s acting as well that was going on there, and it wasn't like some sort of, you know, extreme parody like Garth Marenghi. This was really well observed, and a lot of them are in these episodes. But I've got to say though, I think my favourite episode is one called A Quiet Night In, just because of the mechanics involved in this, and it's lovely. It's just a great episode, bit of a laugh as well, but it's really well done. Yeah. So yeah, get into it. Inside Number 9. Yeah, highly recommend it.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I mean, the thing is, I've with Inside Number 9, it's a bit like Black Mirror with me. I dip in and out and go, oh, that's really good. I should watch another one, and then I'll watch another one and think, oh my good Lord, I've got to lie down now.
Yeah,
I've got to take a moment, and then I never come back to it. And it's like, no, I should just carry on.
Oh man, I've been popping these episodes like fucking Pringles. I really have. It's just, yep. Next, can I get? I've got half an hour, just or 25 minutes spare. Can I just about get that one in there? Yeah, I can. So, yeah,
cool.
Yeah, extremely
Nice.
good. What was the other thing I saw? Oh yeah, the Doctor Who finale. But anyway, Lee, how was your week?
Yeah, I saw the Doctor Who finale too.
Yeah.
I've been.
Did you like it? Because there was stuff that went on in it. There were things, right? There were things and stuff in it. all over. I know you like things and stuff.
I have nothing to add to the discourse on this one. I just sat there like, oh, and that's it. That's all I'm going to say. That is my entire review of that. Oh.
Do you know what? I even went back and watched Pyramids of Mars.
Why? Right? Why would you do that?
No, that was lucky because it kind of reignited my love of Tom Baker, because I lost it for a while where he was concerned. That was it. I saw one episode, I think it was Planet of Death, and it was the way he just stood there goggle-eyed as if thinking to himself, fuck me, it's this and Little Britain, that's all I've got, isn't it? And it in between people talking to him, that's what put me right off. It's like, how the fucking hell did I think he was my favourite Doctor? But no, watching this, it's just his delivery of the lines and the way he brings out the actual script is just, it's really funny to watch.
The house is on fire. I think we should leave.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got nothing to add. I'm not going to say anything about it because, well, Jim and Elton and I were having a conversation before we started recording about about things becoming battlegrounds. And Doctor Who is very much one of those things, and I don't even want to get into it. I have my opinion on it. It's not a positive one on that finale, but that's my opinion, and nobody else needs to hear it.
But I do like the stuff and the things and the things and the stuff. Those were good in the episode because they had to have a thing happen for a stuff to appear.
Handwavium.
Handwavium, yes. Yes, down next to the unobtainium. It's over there in the drawer next to that. There we go.
Yeah. So, if anybody does want us to talk about it, then by all means let us know on the Facebook group. But until then, it's not a fight or a hill I'm willing to die on for the ratings and the rage clicks, to be honest.
If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't,
good on you.
You didn't. That's
exactly. Anything else, sir?
No.
No,
not at all. That's
okay,
it.
Cool. Well, my fortnight rather. Yes, I did do some recording with Andy Plastides and Rev Peter Organ. We returned to Space Dock Jury after a brief hiatus of 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I mistakenly brought, because for those of you who don't know how the podcast works, we bring spaceships in a top trumps kind of style to basically argue over, and the idea was, Andy said, for the 300th episode of The Great Derelict, let's do a Space Dock Jury special, and let's only do spaceships from anything over the last 7 years, which we weren't online. So I thought, okay, fine. I thought, well, I can't do Star Trek, because if I do Star Trek, that's a row. I can't do Star Wars, because if I do Star Wars, that's a row. And then I thought, what else have I actually watched in the last fucking 7 years?
Ooh.
And I thought, oh, well, Dune? Well, there's not many spaceships, not much else going on. So, to my eternal and forever damning shame.
Oh, no, you didn't.
I went back to Covenant.
Oh.
The USCSS Covenant.
I'm going to say Button Moon for a minute.
Oh, well,
no.
What, Zack Snyder's Button Moon? That's what I thought you were going to go for.
No, I never went Button Moon. No,
man,
I couldn't bring myself to do that. But like a fucking idiot, instead of just looking shit up on the internet, which is kind of what we used to do, you sort of look up some bits and pieces about the spaceship, argue the toss, there's your podcast. I thought, you know what? It's a special. You know, let's just put a bit of effort in. And I sat there and I watched Alien Covenant again.
What? No.
I cannot believe how utterly fucking stupid that movie is. And do you know what's even funnier? Is I have a better appreciation of Prometheus now after watching that film. I literally retroactively moved Prometheus up the tree because Covenant reminded me how utterly bizarrely dumb everyone was and how the plotting was even more stupid. and the script was terrible, and the special effects were bollocks.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I had a bit of an existential crisis for a couple of days because I was sitting there thinking, what the fuck am I doing?
So Prometheus, yeah, that's the one you watched.
No,
Or
Covenant.
Covenant. Was that the first one or the second one? I can't
Second
remember.
one.
That was the second
Covenant's
one, was
the
it?
second one.
They kind of all blur into one movie after a while.
I'll give you the key line.
Oh,
You-
no, I know.
You blow,
Hello,
I'll do the
Moretti.
fingering.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. And hey, Mr. Captain, sir, I know you've just seen me talking to an alien, but I tell you what, and I got really cross when you blew it away. But I tell you what, how about this? You come down with me for no malevolent reason whatsoever, and come and have a look at these eggs. So yeah, it's stupid film. But on a more positive note, one thing I did, which I thought was freaking fucking amazing, was I went to the London Stadium with Lisa and we watched the Foo Fighters live. And
Nice.
that fucking
Wow.
rocked. I'm sitting here in my Foo Fighters tour t-shirt right now. My 2024 tour t-shirt, my Black Dave Grohl hockey t-shirt.
Very nice t-shirt too.
Thank you very much. It was a bloody good night. A really good night, really good crowd. 50,000 people singing, and even if I didn't know all the songs, I mean, I knew 90% of the songs, but there was one or two deep cuts where he sort of went right back.
Yeah.
In time, I just loved it, every moment of it. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that we were up in the stadium, sort of section, and my old vertigo started to go. So as soon as I stood up, I'm like, no, I'm going to sit down and just wiggle my shoulders. Well, everyone else who's got balance, perfect balance, away you go. But no, it was an amazing night. 3 hours of brilliance, and even coming home, I know there's like 50,000, 150,000, whatever amount of people trying to get out of that stadium.
Yeah.
But even the crowds were so chill and so cool that we even had fun just being kettled between stops, getting out. Everyone was kind of like just good natured. The whole thing was such a great night. Such a great night.
Always is. On the way back out to the train station, did the crowd do the whoa bit from Best of You?
Oh God, yes.
On the way back to the station, yeah.
Oh yeah.
When I went to, was it the Milton Keynes one? It was back in 2015. It was.
Yeah. Well, they did that, but the thing was, what was happening was, as to get that many people out, what you had was this big wide road out of the stadium, and essentially you had different people, sort of like airlocks of people, barrier people with stop and go. And so what happened was you go in groups of like, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000. I couldn't even begin to imagine the number. And you kind of slide forward, and there'd be like 15 people there, sort of linking arms with a stop and a go sign. And you kind of get to there, and you kind of go, and you run up, and you get to the go, and the bloke turns it around, and everyone stops, and it's like, oh. And you got people, but then you got the other crowd in the other part of the road, because it was two halves of a motorway basically, and you got the other people going the other side who've got the go, so they're going past, and they're going past, going whoa, whoa, and we're all sitting there going boo, fuck you, and then we'd start moving, and it would be like a sort of back and forth chanting thing. So the whole thing was really, really good, absolutely brilliant night, brilliantly organised, everything. Even the bloody merch stand, yeah. You go. The merch stand was actually not a stand. It was, in fact, two enormous tents about the length of a street, and to get into it, you had a 20-minute queue, and you're kind of thinking, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" But you get in there, and it was all good natured. Everyone just kind of plodding along, really well organised. You're in and out in like 30 minutes tops, and yeah, I just had a really, really good night. It's been a long time since I've had a good night like that. Really good.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you've come a long way, my son. You really have. You know that? Because I remember a time when you weren't such a fan. And you were like, monkey wrench, more like monkey bench. And I'll bet you were fucking singing along to that shit, wouldn't you?
You bet your fucking arsehole.
I bet you. See, you know now. Your eyes have been opened.
Yeah,
This is what they mean by woke. It's this. You're woken to tunes, fabulous music.
Yeah, don't get too high and mighty on your fucking sniffing your own farts there, Mr. Barnard. I still remember when you wouldn't listen to heavy metal and you were quite up your own arse about Alexander O'Neill back in the 80s. So
I always tell that
just
story.
rein that back in.
No, I've always told people that when I've talked about my musical journey. I went from this to dance, then to I just went Iron Maiden, and then that was it. The dance was forgotten.
Yeah,
and it was just metal and rock, and then suddenly one day everything just fused together. And what was it? It's what
Coldplay.
Yeah, Coldplay. That's it. Yeah, but I started listening to whale music, sung by Chris, whatever his fucking name is,
House Martin.
Chris House Martins. What a good place to be. You don't believe it. Yeah. So I know I went on my journey. I went on that journey.
Nice.
But
nice.
It's now we can do it. We can go to concerts. We can go to these together now. We can.
Again.
This is it. Yes, we could do this, Lee. We could do this.
The last time we did, we went to Prince, and my car got broken into.
Was it Prince or Tina Turner?
Oh, Tina Turner was the one you broke the lock on my car.
Well,
yeah.
If we got to be honest, that lock wasn't none too stable, was it? It's not like I've got any great feat of strength coming on here. I think I sneezed near it and it came off in my hand. I'm ever so sorry. I brought you a lock on car.
I brought your lock back. Where is it? It's attached to the key.
No.
It's attached to the key. I just pulled it out the door.
What do you fucking like, you stupid fucking fuck? I'm so sorry. Don't leave me here.
I can't. I can't lie. My brown Astra suffered at your hands, and I was none too pleased.
I don't want to know about your brown Astra. What?
Euphemism.
You need to wash it every once in a while.
But anyway, and finally, speaking about cars, the Falcon, the Ford Focus that I've owned for nearly 20 years now.
So I've just had Harrison Ford go, but so and so, but she'll get you where you want to go.
Exactly. What a piece of junk. She'll make 0.5, but she'll get you there, old man.
She'll make 0.5 by Heston Services.
Exactly. And I took it in for MOT last Wednesday, and it failed, which is bad. But the thing was, I took it into Quick Fit in Bromley, and they failed it on this thing called a suspensor arm or suspender arm. I can't remember. A suspension arm. There you go, suspension arm. And they said, "Oh, your front suspension arm, it's fucked. It's a dangerous thing. If you get it wrong, your car's fucked. You're in it. You're fucked well with it, sort of thing." And I'm like, "Oh, right. Well, this has to be fixed." And then I suddenly went, "Hang on. Last year, I took this to Quick Fit in Sydenham, and they changed my front suspension arm." And the guy went, "Hang on," and he went out to the engineer.
Yeah.
And the engineer went, "Yeah, it's definitely the newer of the suspension arms on the front of the car, and it's snapped."
Oh.
And so I went,
"Oh dear,
hang on." And I texted Carol, and I was like,
a lot of people going, "Hang on."
Yeah, lots of people going, "Hang on."
Hang on.
So I texted Carol, and I said, "Hold on, suspension arm's broken, but that's the thing that we had replaced last year." Carol, being Carol, goes straight online, looks up, and it says average length of running cost time of a suspension arm for a Ford Focus Mark II is between 50 and 100,000 miles. Now, bear that number in mind. 50 to 100,000 miles, right?
Right.
So, cut back to me. I'm going, pretending that I know what I'm talking about. I said to the guy, "But that shouldn't have broken. I've only had it on for a year, and they last for a minimum of 50,000 miles. So he sits down and he goes tappity tap tap on his system, and he goes, "What's the mileage of your car again?" And I said, "Oh, it's 20 years old. It's 106,000 miles." He goes, "Last year you were listed as having a mileage of 50,000 miles." So I'm like, so you're telling me that my car has gone 50,000 miles in this year?
Really?
And then I said, "What was the year before?" And he said, "Oh yeah, your mileage was 100,000 miles. So you've actually only done 6,000 miles." And I said, so I've had my mileage clocked back on the MOT from last year, 50,000 miles, and a part that would only last 50,000 miles put on my car." And he went, "Hold on, let me have another look at it." He went out there and he went, "Oh yeah, they've fucked the thread. They've screwed the bolts are not in the right place. Everything's buggered. We're going to have to get you a new part." And I said, "Well, I tell you what, you can get me a new part, but there is no fucking way I'm paying for it. Not a single way I'm paying for this."
Exactly.
So then I'm like, "I would wish to speak to the manager," sort of thing.
Yes.
And the guy comes in and I say, "Look, this is the situation. This looks very dodgy. You've yanked 50,000 miles off my car. Give me a part that only lasts 50,000 miles, so it looks like it's broken naturally." I said, "That is dodgy. That's fraud. That's and also
Yeah, it is.
And the guy went, "Oh, don't worry. We'll cover it. We'll swallow the costs. We'll fix it." Blah. And then they came back to me on Thursday, which was when I was going to Foo Fighters. Sent me a phone call and said, "We can't get the part. Your car's too old."
Oh, okay.
I went,
Really?
and they're like, "Yep." And I said, "Okay, well, is there another way of getting hold of it?" And they said, "Well, you can go to Ford, but their stock supplier is in Germany, and it would take 14 days to get here." I'm like, so hang on. So you're telling me I've got to wait 2 weeks, by which time my MOT runs out.
Oh dear, that's even more coincidence. More money by any chance?
Yeah, and I said, "So I've got a car that doesn't pass the MOT. I've got, I've got a car that's been fucked by your previous owners, by the previous garage. I've been screwed over by the mileage. What on earth is going on here?" And they said, "We can't do anything about it. We can go get a part from a scrap yard to get you back up and running, but you're going to be looking at a fortnight minimum." And that's when we had to make the very difficult decision. And I turned around to Carol and I said, "Look, how much? The car's not worth more than 200 quid at this point. Even the insurance company won't insure the car for more than 150. It's like, are you having a laugh? We're paying insurance on a car that is actually less than our entire excess." So I said, "You know what? Fuck it." And you know what was really interesting? And just bear this in mind. I said, "I tell you what, I've got my logbook in the back of my pocket right now. If anybody wants it, I'll sell it for 150 quid to the Quick Fit guys." They all jumped up like I'd just thrown a piece of meat into the middle of the room.
Really?
And I suddenly went, "Okay, I'll see you guys later." And I took all the stuff out the back of the car, put it in my mum's car, drove off, went to a place called Ace Breakers in Dartford online, and they offered me nearly 250 quid to take it away and scrap it. And I said, "Yep." And then I went back to Quick Fit and said, "Don't do anything. We'll deal with it." And that was the end of that. So my car has gone off to the choir invisible.
Shuffled off this mortal coil.
It has. So I had that Harrison Ford moment in Return of the Jedi of looking at it going, "I feel like I'm not going to see her anymore." I had that. I had that Star Trek 3 oh my God, Bones,
Yeah.
what have I done? As it had been dragged away and the bagpipes were playing Amazing Grace.
Did you take your C90 cassettes out as well?
Well, actually, it was quite funny because I cleared out the car. I cleared out the car. I put everything in Mum's car, and then the guy came to pick it up this morning, and he picked it up, took it away. He said, "Oh, everything else is working. We'll probably take this for parts. Really, this won't be crushed. This will be parts. This car's good enough for parts." I said, "Right, okay, fine." He said, "Okay, I'm just going to check everything over." And then, as he did that, he went, "Do you want this?" And he pulled out a CD, and the CD was 80s disco tunes, What a Feeling. And I said, "No, you can keep that." Anyway, so now we're looking at new cars.
Okay.
And my wallet is going to cry very hard, because any equivalent kind of car to the one we had, but modern, the money involved is kind of eye-watering.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. How does anywhere between £15,000 and £19,000 sound?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So yeah, so I might be reopening the Patreon. But anyway, so yeah, pour one out for the old Millennium Falcon that I had for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
The Ford Focus Mark II.
Pour some beer on the step. There we go.
Pour some beer on the step. Well, I can't. I've done 2 cans already. I'm going to do a third one in a minute. But yeah. But I am going to be Skinty McSkimpface from the planet Skintland. I think. Yeah. So. Anyway. So yeah. So I'll put up a coffee. A coffee link. For tips.
Why is this coffee 32 grand? What is that all about?
Yeah, what the fuck is that? I could not believe how much cars cost now. So yeah, it's just unbelievable.
They're appalling con cars.
Yes,
They're just black holes of money. They depreciate like buggery. Repairing them costs a fortune as well. You just can't win with the bastard things.
No.
Unless you keep hold of the car long enough and it turns out to be a collectible model in like 50 years' time.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to be the case. I'm looking at the most. I'm literally going through websites, going most reliable model of car ever. Just looking for that, because I know if I buy this thing, it's going to have to last me 20 years. It's going to have to do when the Ford Focus did. It's going to have to last to the point where I'm literally spitting on the engine and hitting it with a rubber hammer, going, "Move, you bitch!"
Basically, going to be the second to last car you ever buy, isn't it?
It's going to be the last car I ever buy.
Oh, okay.
In 20 years' time, I'm going to be 74. I'm just going to be. That's going to be it. If I there is no way.
It'll take me to the graveyard. This thing.
This is my last car. Unless someone comes up and says, "Oh, by the way, we love the podcast. Here's my Bentley Continental." I'm not going to fucking be getting another car after this. So yeah. By the way, if anyone from Bentley does want some sponsorship, please get in touch with me at feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. But yeah, no. So yeah. So that scream that you will hear in several weeks' time will be my entire life savings disappearing like a steam out of a kettle.
Yep.
So have fun with that. Anyway, that's it. We'll leave it there for our week. Yeah, while I depressingly try not to eat a bullet. Anyway, let's have a look at the feedback. The fortnight before, we did The Creator. Did you actually watch it, Jim, by the way?
I did, yes.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was lovely looking.
I
actually quite enjoyed it, but it was kind of, I did sort of feel kind of, I don't know, it worked very well as a TV series because it just felt like a bit lightweight, but then again, it's a movie and it's only I think with me, I really enjoyed it, but sort of plot wise, I had a lot in common with a series I've been watching that just concluded Sweet Tooth.
Oh yes, yeah,
And compared to Sweet Tooth, the plot felt a bit lightweight, but it's only like a 2-hour movie where Sweet Tooth run for 3 seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like about
exactly,
30 hours. So you're not going to get the same depth of storytelling.
no,
But we actually just really enjoyed it because I said just the look of it and just kind of this is. I've not already read the book or the comic of this or the TV series it's rebooting.
yeah.
And it was kind of this is like a breath of fresh air. This is. But yeah, we really liked it.
Cool. Lovely. Right. Well, now everyone's given their opinion on it. That's good. I'm feeling good. Right. Okay. So on the feedback, we got some feedback. We on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, and we had Laura Fox who said, "Darren, you really didn't do justice to Murder in Successville."
No, I didn't. I didn't want to give
There
too
you
much
go.
away though. So yeah, a bloody good show. Very, very funny. Awkward as fucking places as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, highly recommend
Lovely.
it.
Cool. We have a returning feedbacker from days gone past. We had Gareth Lloyd.
Oh my good lord! We
Yeah,
got the Gareth Lloyd theme tune. Did we
I haven't
make one
got
of those?
yeah, we did make it, but I haven't got it on me. I didn't realise I wasn't looking ahead of time. This shows how we plan. Lloyd.
Gareth Lloyd.
Yeah, and he basically says, "Lovely looking film, but it's a little dull for me," which is fair. I think it weren't far off of what we were thinking. Chris Johnson, the shipmaster general, said the creator to me is all flash and knickers, as my granddad used to say. Fair enough. So again, I think it's all about how it looks more than how it actually plays as a story. And then we had Ian Stead, Spaceship, and he said, this was regarding The Acolyte, which I'd watched 3 episodes and just noped out. He said, yeah, Lee, I noticed. I nodded off during The Acolyte too. I agree that the Jedi are dull. Why is it we have this trope? Good guys are either arseholes, Federation, New Republic, or just dull, Jedi. Give me planet-killing bad guys anytime, or rough and ready scoundrels. I've not finished the podcast, but I did spot the Rogue One reference, and the use of a handgun prop was actually a German World War II MP4 SMG, just like they did in New Hope, using real weapons as props, e.g. Stormtroopers' blasters are actually British Sterling SMGs. Anyway, getting up at 3 a.m. does not help. Yeah. Fair enough. And also, I mentioned that one of the Jedi looked like Kenny Everett, and Ian Stead really nails it with the picture that he found and he put on the Facebook group. It's just brilliant. It's Kenny Everett as a Buddhist monk, and it looks exactly like the Acolyte Tobin Jedi geezer. So do check that out. Chris Johnson comes back again and also says after our little conversation last time that that you couldn't find Cyborg Elton, could you?
No, I couldn't.
No. Well, good news.
Yeah.
Chris Johnson's found it on Daily Motion and supplied us with a link.
Sweet.
Here's my hoping that you never get a chance to choose another film. So there you go. So that's all the feedback so far. If anybody has any other feedback for this episode, other episodes, just let us know. Drop a message under the episode on the Facebook group at facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast, or send us an email in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Right, we are going to draw a veil over this section, draw a line in the sand. God, it's 10:30 already. I need more beer. Right. We'll stop it here. And then when we come back, we will be cheerfully gambling through the very happy world of 3 billboards outside Epping Forest. Anyway, roll the jingle. Right, so 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri is a 2017 crime drama film written and directed and co-produced by Martin McDonagh, who has done such things as oh blimey, hang on. I was going to just say one film, but then I looked at his list and I'm like, oh, actually, he's done lots of shit. No, the main one, Banshees of Inisherin, In Bruges, Seven Psychopaths, to name a few. Anyway, it stars Frances McDormand as Mildred Hayes, a Missouri woman who rents out 3 roadside billboards to draw attention to her daughter's unsolved rape and murder. It also stars Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell, Abby Cornish, John Hawkes, and Peter Dinklage. The film was theatrically released November 2017, and in the UK it was released January 2018. And it had a budget of $12 million. And how much do you reckon it made at the box office, Jim?
I think it made 90 million unmentionable word torture sessions.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So I feel like we're going to be sailing very close to the wind with this review. Okay, what about you, Dal? How much do you reckon?
I reckon it made, let's see now, 4 Molotov cocktails and a really cheap dinner.
Nice. And what about you, Elton?
I reckon it made a book about polio and a dentist drill to the thumb.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, you're all wrong. It was it actually made 1 billboard renter out of a window.
Right.
So there you go. And by the way, Jim, it's persons of colour torturing business these days.
Oh, yes, of course.
Anyway, right. So, no, but for those of you who really do care, it actually made 162.9 million. So it made 10 times, nearly 11 times its budget.
Impressive.
Not bad.
For that kind of film, I am very impressed, to be honest.
Me too. By the way, if anyone hears me drinking, I have and are keeping score. I'm on Brewdog Planet Pale Ale, which apparently is down to earth, easy drinking, but does taste like toilet duck. So,
as on us by Curiosity Killed the Cat.
Yeah, straight back down. Yeah. Anyway, let's not get into Bendy Ben. Yeah, that's a deep cut for those born after 1985. Bendy Ben. Can you tell we don't really want to talk about this film in terms of like it's going to be a difficult talk? Anyway, here we go. So let's go around the table. No spoilers. Just go what everyone thinks about it. Elton, you picked this, so you go last.
Okay.
So we'll start with you, Jim. What did you think of 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri?
Well, I'd not seen this before. It's kind of I've been meaning to get around to watching, and it was all kind of, shall we watch this? And go, it might be a bit heavy. Shall we put something stupid on with aliens and robots? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
And so this is why I enjoy doing Black Dog, because quite often I have to watch films I've been meaning to watch and been putting off for various reasons. And as it was, it sounds really wrong to say I really enjoyed this movie, but I did really enjoy this movie. I thought it was really, it was clever, it was very hard hitting, but somehow it managed to still be human and funny while tackling some very, very dark shit.
Yes.
And that ain't easy to pull that off. And so I came away like just very impressed. I mean, such a strong cast, such a good script, and just beautifully played.
Mm. Cool, excellent. And let's move on to you then, Dal. What do you think?
I really love this film. I just think it's so well done, really well acted, and I do like to see good pieces with character development, good character development in it. And even though there was darkness in it, there was still certain people who were involved in it. There was a believable streak of good in them. They weren't all completely, bad. I really like that. I'm a big Sam Rockwell fan anyway. I love his stuff. Yeah, I just thought it was equally. There were funny bits in it, and there were some tragic bits in it as well. But I thought it was just really well put together.
Cool.
Really well. Delivery spot on. Really, really good.
Cool. For me, this is my second time watching it. The first time I watched it back in 2017, actually at the cinema when I had my Cineworld Black card, as you do, and I was going to see.
I think you find it's a person of colour card, Lee.
I'll just tee it up there. I'll just tee it up, Jim.
Card of colour.
Take a swing. There you go. Nice one. I can't get past that. That's too good. That was too good a whack. That was too good. But I went to see this. I went to see this back in 2017 when I was doing my every Monday night. I'd go and watch a film at The View on the way home. Cineworld on the way home. And I went into this thing knowing nothing other than the director and writer was the guy who did In Bruges. So I was expecting that. Here we go. Sat down and thought, fuck me, that's bleak as fuck. There are funny bits in it, but it was bleak as fuck. This time round, expecting the same, I thought, there are funny bits in it. And, my emotions are somewhat complicated about it. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was well made. I thought it was well written. I thought it was brilliantly acted, beautifully shot. But, my God, I was a little bit like, where... I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this now. So, so I'll be quite interested to talk about a certain character. But, I do. I mean, overall, I enjoy it as much as you can enjoy a film that is essentially about bitterness, rage, moral ambiguity, and the death of a family member. Anyway, there you go. Elton, what about you?
So this is the first time I watched it. And the reason why I chose this is because it has been on my radar for some time, but never really got around to finding the time to watch it. I didn't know quite what the subject matter was going to be about. I didn't know whether it was going to be a real heavy one, a light one. I just wasn't too sure. And I didn't really... I think I'd seen a trailer for it, and I still couldn't work out whether it was supposed to be light-hearted or real hard-hitting. And it is somewhere in between, more towards the hard-hitting part of the spectrum. But I flipping love this. This is the type of film I want to find and see. So it's gone right up there in my top 10 movies immediately.
Yeah.
It is alongside There Will Be Blood and No Country for Old Men and In Bruges and films of that type, which aren't your mega blockbusters that everyone goes, oh yeah, that and that. We must see that, Oh, this one's gory, this one's not. No, this is more a talky, thinky movie. And I'm quite into them.
Character pieces.
Yeah. Really into that. I want to find more movies like this. This is what I'm interested in. And I flipping loved it. I know it's dark. I know it's morbid and it's really hard to actually like many of the characters in here. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it has honestly just gone right up there.
Awesome. That's awesome. I'm really glad about that because it is one of those films. I feel like you could dissect it a number of different ways, and I think you can pick, you can say what you thought was good, what you thought was funny, what you liked, what you didn't. But there's all sorts of different ways to cut it, and what you can take away from it is kind of interesting because it depends what bits affect you. So I think we'll get into that in a minute. We will obviously have to put in the frivolous. It does feel weird. I'm not going to lie. It does feel weird going for a frivolous kind of, kind of jingle thing right now.
Oh no, I think we need it. It's fine.
Okay,
as long as it's not like The Sign by what's that fucking group from the 90s?
Arthur
Bass. Yeah,
Arthur Bass. Yeah. Okay. Well, then here we go.
Shut up, Wesley.
Baby.
Put your helmet on. We'll be reaching speeds of... Shut up, Wesley.
Thank you. Right. So we are on the other side of the spoiler zone. I will obviously preface this all by saying that, yes, even though we've just put out a whole heap of silly comments, silly jingles rather, yes, it is the spoiler zone. We will be going into dark territory because we will be talking about a pretty dark film. And therefore, if you haven't seen the film and you don't want it spoiled, stop right now. Go off and watch it. It's well worth your time. If you find subjects and matters that we're going to discuss in this film because you know what it's all about, disturbing and worrying and bother you, then don't listen. Go away and just know that we liked the film for what it was, and that's that. So there you go. So here's your final warning, and here we are. So I'm going to ask you straight away, guys. Go right to the heart of it, and anyone can jump in on this. I don't mind if it's overlapping dialogue or whatever. Just go for it. What do you think the actual theme of this film is?
I think that's a
Start
real
with tough questions. Blimey.
Yeah, that's a toughie because I think there's either so many or none, and I think it's more so many.
Well, that was the thing. Watching it last night, and I'll start it off. If you want to jump in and whatever, if something occurs to you while I'm talking, just dive in. But the first time I watched it, I just thought it's the nature of revenge. It's the nature of sadness and grief, and how it all just eats you up and robs you of every bit of joy. Yeah, that's how I saw the first time. Okay. The second time I watched it, and I thought it's a film about redemption, about growth, about people realizing their potential and moving on. So there you go. I'll just drop those over there and let's see how you go with that.
I think they're
definitely.
Go on, sorry, mate. Go on.
No, go on. Go.
I think
you go before me, sir, please. I will hold the dooreth open for you. Even with my dodgy back. Go.
I think there is some redemption in this, but not as much as maybe there should be. There's a tiny bit, but it doesn't. To have redemption, I think would you say that you kind of need to cleanse your palate of all the shit that's gone on before? And I don't think that quite happens in this.
I think it's more finding a road to redemption than actually getting any sort of redemption for the characters in the film when it ends. But I think they're on the journey there. or at least have found well, not a billboard, but a signpost, if you know what I mean, of where the way forward, could be for them.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's one of those things. It's kind of, I respect the film for not delivering that kind of redemption, because realistically, that kind of sort of redemption and catharsis and coming to terms with all of this and coming out the other side is a process that'll take a long time.
Mm.
And
What about?
I think the
yeah.
film's very much about kind of people trying to find what that road is, and for like Frances McDormand's character, the whole billboard start, because she stuck with it, and everyone else is just la 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 la, move on. It was horrible. Let's forget about that. But she can't, and she doesn't necessarily, I don't think, need the crime solving. I think it's more she needs the acknowledgement that she's still suffering.
Right. Okay.
What about you, Dal? How's your take on it?
People are complicated, and I think that's one of the messages that this film puts across. People are complicated. People are not one note either, and it portrays that brilliantly in this. Let's take, for example, the main character, okay,
Mildred,
and her sitting in the room, in an interview room, with the chief of police there, okay, and she's done all this thing with the billboards and everything like this, and the moment he spits up blood, and you see that look on his face, and you see her reaction to it, and he says, "I'm sorry," and she goes, "It's okay, baby. It's fine." And it's just that switch there, that whole thing of, that was a very realistic. It's not like, Death Wish, where you've got a character who is like, wants some sort of payback for what's happened and sticks to that and is like, sees the copper cough up blood and goes, "Yeah, you got what you deserve, pig," that kind of thing. It's not. I love that about this different, this. Oh, it's a very human. It was a very human reaction. It's like, it's almost like, I know you're not at fault, but I have to do this massive show here to bring attention to this thing that nobody's really taking attention of. It's also that whole thing of a relative of a victim of these crimes. It's very easy to think, just because nobody's been caught for this, that people aren't doing their job. It's, solving a crime. Yeah, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. And it's that whole thing of grief can cloud you to that, to where you're striking out at the easiest target, which would be the local police officers. Right?
Okay.
It's I think there's that in there. That's I like that about it. Like I say, it's complicated characters, right? It's not just cut and dry. This isn't Death Wish.
No.
This is I think it was a really well observed film about it. So I think if one of the messages it's got in it, it's people are complicated. People are not just one note. Look at Sam Rockwell's character, right? You see the love he had for the chief of police, right? How much he loved that man. One letter to him directly, speaking to him directly after his death, is enough to make him kind of switch tracks on the way he's going, right, on the path he's taking in life. And even when he gets burnt and he gets blown up, that message is still in there. that's how much of an effect. That's how much of a love he felt for that man. His words have affected him that much that he could have just gone back to being a nasty piece of work, but he didn't. He started to change.
Mm.
Yeah, he's done some unforgivable things, and well, now it's really started to come home to him. And it's unfortunate it took the death of Woody Harrelson's character to get this across. But
I will say, just to interject with a little bit of humour, I did love that whole scene of no one will think you're gay, no one will do you. I think you're a decent man. You've had a run of bad luck, but I think things are going to change for you. I can feel it, sort of like, just love people. And in the meantime, there's like the whole building's burning behind it. It's just like...
it's the line where you hear Woody Harrelson go, "You're not going to like this, but what you got to do is you got to bring in love into this. You've got to bring in love. And look, don't worry. If people think you're gay, then arrest them for homophobia." And it's just that. And it's like, well, he's kind of got a point there. He can do that. It's like, well, he's in a position to,
Yeah.
But I love that Woody Harrelson's little monologues as well. Like when he's talking to I've forgotten her bloody name again. What's it? Mildred, that's it. I think Georgia Mildred. When he's like, when she's reading the letter to, she's reading it to him. He messages sending to her, and it's that still thing of that bit of humour in there that he's got with her, and it's nobody really hates anyone. This is the thing. It's like, it's really hard to explain, but I love that little dynamic. I love that nobody was really. I mean, hate's a very strong word anyway, but it was good to see. In a way, it was kind of a bit of a feel. It was one of the few feel good things about the film was the fact that nobody really hated anyone, even when they're in the hospital, right? And he says sorry, right? Sam Rockwell's character says sorry to that guy.
Oh, to Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Red still pours him a glass of orange juice and leaves it there. And that's another thing. See, that I think that really kind of cemented what Woody's character was saying to him. And it's just, that was a prime example. And that's a thing that really kind of strikes home with him and makes him start to change.
So is that the thing? Love and acceptance.
And I think there are various different messages this movie puts across. I don't think there's one single one personally for me, but yeah, people are complicated. Forgiveness as well in there. Can you forgive someone for doing something to you that's quite bad, for making mistakes? It's that, there's lots of that kind of thing going on in there. And I loved all that. The fact that nobody was, none of the main cast were totally irredeemable on this. They all had that. They weren't just two-dimensional in that respect. They were, like I say, they were human. That's it. Yeah. It was just that. It was really nicely observed. I can't say that enough. I really just love that. It left me with a sense of hope by the end of it.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, it was just the fact that you had two characters who were on opposing sides to begin with. And at the end, there was this thing of revenge they were both going on. But as they were driving, even then, they were like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" "No. Let's think about this on the way." And I'm betting if the story had carried on, they wouldn't have done anything to the guy. They wouldn't have killed him.
Okay, well, let's go from there. What do you think, Elton, Jim? What do you think? Do you think they would have done something if they'd finally caught up with Captain psycho military person?
I was thinking about this when I'll be honest, when that film ended, my mouth was left wide open. I was not expecting it to finish there. This is I think we've said it before in a couple of other reviews where it feels like you're dipping into people's stories. And this is the classic or a perfect example of dipping into their stories just at the right time and then pulling away before you find out, and their story continues and we just disappear. I was shocked at the ending. And I think I was. It seems really weird, but I enjoyed. Like, there is clearly a first half up until Willoughby does what he does to himself, and then the second half of the kind of redemption of Dixon and leading up towards the end,
Right?
And I was waiting for like the third bit of it.
So what were you waiting for? You were waiting for him to sort of rock up and beat the fuck out of him, or
I didn't know what they were going to do. I really didn't know. I like that Mildred did question what they were doing, because I think if he was in town, then yes, that would have been what went down. But you can see that both their characters have changed significantly, to the point where I was thinking, right, I've still got another half hour of this at least. And then the credits rolled. I was like, what? Really? And sometimes that catches you out. And the more that movies do that, the more I go, yes, I like that. I like not knowing.
Can I ask, Elton, do you think then that this was an anti-Barnard? Do you think it was half an hour too short?
Nothing's anti-Barnard. We always want a little bit more Barnard.
Lee's anti-Barnard.
Oh,
no, Lee's always anti-Barnard.
Oh yeah,
It.
Fucking. I tell you what. I just sit down. I look at that fourth track and I just think, you know what? I could mute this shit.
Do you know, Jim, Elton, right? If you listen very carefully, right, you can hear him mumbling in the background. Fucking.
I'm just putting white noise over your track. I don't know what. And nobody hears it. Nobody ever hears it. fucking 32 years I put up with this shit. Fucking listening to another second of it, I'm done. I'm done.
Fucking cunt loves the sound of his own fucking voice. I fucking hate him.
Fucking hell,
it's in my fucking ears. It really is.
I've got a podcast. I've made it for myself. Yeah. I've got my own fucking voice, and then he still comes in and fucking talks all over it. And what a shit!
It's meant to be a safe area. It's meant to be an escape. All I get is triggered every time he opens his fucking mouth. It's just triggering. There's more triggers than the fucking Lone Ranger. It really is. Just...
More triggers than the fucking OK Corral. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Than the Texas firing range.
Yeah. Anyway, apart from our problems.
But yeah, I going back to it, I didn't quite know what they were going to do. I like that it's left open and to interpretation, and it's you just never know. I love that. Flipping love that.
Yeah.
I don't want every movie to do that, because then it'd just be like, okay, right, yeah, we'll never know. And you can't go through life watching movies where you don't get an ending at all. But when you don't, it kind of works really, really well.
How did you feel about that, Jim?
I was that sort of deep into the film, I'd lost all sort of perception of like how far along you are, because it's not really a film that does the 3-act structure.
No,
or is hitting conventional plot beats. Although I agree with Elton, there's definitely an Act 1 and Act 2. I'd say, yeah, that's bang on with Willoughby's checking out.
Yeah.
That's the end of Act 1, then Act 2 is the fallout from that. And so you kind of got, oh, all right, that's the end. They're just driving off, and it's kind of, me and Teresa, we did have a conversation, and we both started going, we'd like to think they're not actually going to go and kill him. But that's kind of the optimism coming in. That there's that doubt. Do we really want to do this? Will it make any difference? On further reflection, I kind of think maybe they go and fuck with him a bit, and just that kind of. I think personally, I feel when you're in that situation, you're angry and you want revenge. I think your best option is to work out how you'd get your revenge and then settle for that. Settle thinking, I could do that. I have a plan. I have thought about it. I could carry that out. I could fuck them up good and proper and have my revenge and be avenged, and have retribution. But settle for that. Just settle for that, then put it on a shelf and go, yeah, I could have done that. But I'm the bigger man. I can walk away now. Yeah. That's better. That's the best way to deal with it. It really is. Don't fucking actually do it. And I kind of think that's the point they'd reached. They'd probably go and screw with him. And maybe sort of, I don't know if they'd beat the shit out of him, but they might just do something just to fucking trip up his life. You know what I mean? Just to...
Or maybe Dixon does a bit of actual detective work, because there was no proof of anything, really, was there? It was just on what he heard.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of the implication, is that Dixon's going off to be for want of a better term, a better man, and do some actual detective work, and be almost, the irony is that he's almost the moral guide by the end, which is the real ultimate irony, that the most amoral dickhead, and he is a dickhead, there is no two ways about it, turns around and actually seems like the most reasonable one in that car at the end. But Mildred also seems like she's moved on past where you think she is. But I was also wondering with the film whether or not it's playing with audience, and I hate to use this phrase because it always annoys me, but audience expectations. Just what you brought up, Elton, about the fact that, you're sitting there thinking, oh no, we've got another 30 minutes of them fucking with this military guy.
Yeah.
And actually this story is, no, it's nothing to do with him. It's just to do with how each individual member of, this town affected by this terrible crime eventually overcomes their own particular, their feelings about it. How they cope and move on effectively. And I'm just wondering whether or not part of the film is kind of doing that whole, no, you're sitting there as an audience member going, this guy's a bad guy, go get him, go fuck him up,
and actually, we've moved on.
Yeah, whereas the characters in the film have actually moved on. They've grown, they've moved on, they've improved themselves even slightly, not necessarily totally, but and then the film's kind of turning its gaze on us, saying, see, you wanted to go off and beat that geezer up for no discernible reason, but actually you're not listening to the words Willoughby was telling you. Love, understanding, acceptance, thought, that's what you need. Do that, as opposed to looking for revenge, striking out, hate. Don't do that. And it's almost like, then when you watch it the second time, it's like Willoughby's not talking to them, he's talking to the audience.
Where Willoughby's... Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, because when you see it the second time, you're sitting there going, no, he's not. He's literally effectively telling the audience, no, don't go expecting revenge. Don't go expecting a clean resolution. Just understand that some things happen. It's the old was it that song about sunscreen? Prices will rise. Yeah. Politicians were always better in our day. just move on. Just understand that by understanding, you'll be a better person than expecting revenge or expecting retribution.
Just as a little side to that, the one line I remember from that song is, "Look after your knees, you'll miss them when they're gone."
Yeah, which should have been "Look after your back."
Yeah, you'll miss out when it's gone. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. How
knees.
And knees
and
elbows.
Yeah,
indeed.
I don't want to get into the whole thing about the fact that I went over to pick something up beside my car and I needed Lisa to act as a stand for me to stand up. But anyway,
oh God, no! Do you know what? I literally
that's age for you, isn't it?
That is age. Yeah.
I mean, we often this time of year, we don't so much take the dog for a walk. We go for a sit down because it's very hot, and so we find some shade. And she's happy seeing watch the wheel go down. But then I have to get up again, and Teresa says it's like watching a baby giraffe trying to walk when I try and get up off the floor.
It's like watching Bambi's first steps.
Do you know what, right? On the weekend, I bent over to pick something up with this bad back, and I literally had to use my hands to walk up my thighs so I could stand up straight.
Yeah.
I've
done that.
Fuck is going on here?
How did this review about a revenge and a rape and a murder suddenly turn into four old guys going, Jesus Christ?
People are complicated, man. People are complicated.
Our bodies descended into nightmarish goo.
So, by the way, talking about there is dark humour in this, and the darkest of humour comes just before Willoughby ends his life when he puts the bag over his head, and it's the sign he's written on the front of it, which was "Don't open the bag, just call the boys."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's that. I mean, that's going a little off the theme topic, but I was going to say, how did you find some of the humour? Because again, there's this whole thing. I've mentioned it many times. You watch something like Evil Dead 2 and you go, and I went to see it with my first girlfriend. That was the first film I took her to see. And she's sitting there pissing herself laughing, and I'm going, no, Evil Dead was a horror classic. Why are you laughing? And it's only when I watched it the second time I kind of found more humour in it.
Yeah. Oh, I get it now.
Oh, I get it. It is a comedy. It's a fucking it's a fucking Three Stooges skit for 2.5 hours in a cabin. But this time around, it's like, sort of Willoughby going, I've got cancer, I'm dying, and she's like, I know, I'm going to do it now because it wouldn't be as effective if you do it before you croak.
Oh man, you see the look in his eyes when she says that to him.
Yeah,
and it's just like she's just smacked him in the stomach really hard.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. The dark humor is fucking pitch black, and it's just like you're going, oh my God, you shouldn't say that. But the second time round, you go, actually, that's quite funny.
There's that moment where Mildred comes back from the pub and she just walks in and says to her son, I think that midget's trying to get into my knickers. And then the vicar's there. And then you have that whole... So, that's not exactly what you would expect a mother to say to her son as she walks in a little bit drunk.
Yeah.
But then the little speech she says to the vicar, it's just pitch perfect.
Oh, yeah. But then that's always been in McDonough's films, that whole sort of slamming of religion, sort of kicking it to the curb with a sort of like, I mean, the Banshees of Inisherin was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one we watched with the beach?
Calvary.
Oh, Calvary, that's it.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, so there was Calvary, there was this, there was In Bruges as well with the whole thing of the religious turn of them. They got midgets. But yeah,
so what I think this film does really, really well is everything that you kind of need to know within the first 10 minutes. You know that it's a bit of a backwater
Mm.
town, I suppose. You don't quite know when it's set,
Yeah.
but there are hints as to when it is set. I think there's mention of back in the 80s, and then there's like DNA as well mentioned. But there's no phones. There's no internet or anything like that. Everyone's got like a square TV as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's important that when you watch these types of movies, they explain everything without explaining everything. You just watch 10 minutes of this and you already know that you've got some racist cops. You've got a shop that does the billboard over the road from the racist cops as well. You know about the town, about the family, about the possible racism that's going on, the police, and everything's set up. And then you're just let loose on it.
Yeah, the world building on this is absolutely superb. I mean, I think that's purely down to the writing. I mean, the acting is excellent, but you know, when you hear some of the dialogue, I mean, you just think, oh my god, this is absolutely pitch perfect. It sums everyone up without having to go, you know, do that thing. What was the thing I saw the other day? I saw something on I think it was Bosch or something like that, and you're watching like, and it goes, oh yeah, hi, it's Mr. Smith, and he goes, Mr. Smith, what you mean, the architect from down the road who's got got 3 daughters and a small household in Florida? Oh yes, that's that Mr. Smith. It's like, everyone should know who the Mr. Smith is.
I wonder if that'll pay back later on in this episode.
In this episode, it's just like, oh, fuck off! Don't explain it to me, Basil exposition. But this stuff, this just lays it out, and it's just so beautifully observed. I love all that stuff.
But one thing I find really strange, and I know that Mildred is doing this for the right reasons to get her case kind of back up into the into the eye line of everyone. She probably feels as if the case has gone cold. No one's thinking about it anymore. She is pining. She is grieving to the point where she's like, well, hang on, I'm still grieving. What's going on with this? And it's really weird to see, or it felt to me as if the whole town kind of turned on her. And that's weird that she's going through this.
Well, it's that thing of kind of, on one hand, you know, the town has a great deference to the sheriff. And I think the film plays a good game in, when you start out, you think, oh, okay, right, American South, the sheriff, he's going to be an asshole, he's not pulling his weight. The murder was probably done by one of his mates, and he's covered it up. But as it goes on, you realise that isn't the case. You know, Willoughby is a good cop. He is a good sheriff. He's a decent man. And the thing is, the people townsfolk are angry because she's having a poke at a guy who is decent. But I think also there's an undercurrent of kind of, we don't want to be reminded about this.
Yeah.
And there's that kind of, people get very angry about things they don't want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it is that whole thing of the immediacy of the problem, isn't it? It's that thing of, well, Sheriff Willoughby is right in front of us. He is dying. Or as Mildred says, we're all fucking dying. But, you know, he's dying. And so, therefore, the sympathies are with him. And so, that's fine. Mildred's got this problem because, you know, she doesn't feel like anyone's doing anything about her daughter's rape murder. And it's like, you know, Willoughby actually says, there's nothing we can do. We've got no DNA evidence. She was set on fire. And, you know, there's nothing we can do. Sometimes these things just happen. And part of the problem there is that she hasn't had a pound of flesh. She hasn't had a resolution, which is fair enough. But the real problem is that she still feels guilty about her final words to her daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And the problem there is that nothing, even if he solved the crime, would ever cure that problem. And that's the thing that ultimately Mildred. Sorry, I was thinking about her in bloody in Fargo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what Mildred has to get through isn't so much the solving of the crime, though that is obviously one of the things. It's getting over her own guilt and lashing out at people because she feels that she's somehow complicit in the whole thing. And as long as she's got someone else to blame, she's not the one to blame.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if let's say at the start of the film they solve the crime, how would that film be any different? And I know it sounds weird, but just think about it for a second. Because if they solved the crime, they had the guy, those 3 billboards, instead of saying blah blah blah, why haven't you solved this problem? What's going on? Could just as easily say, why hasn't criminal X been put in the electric chair? Why is he getting 3 square meals a day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's that projection, it's that whole and that's what she does all the way through the film. She's angry at herself, but she can't accept that, and so everything's being thrown outwards. But even by the end of the film, you're given that little glimmer of, maybe Sam Rockwell's character did find the problem, did find the killer, but at the end of the day, he didn't.
No.
And and even then, even when he thought he found the killer and he phoned Mildred up. I'm doing it. I'm thinking too much about Fargo now.
Yeah.
Even when he killed Mildred up and said, I think we've got the guy. Don't know for sure, but I think we've got the guy. She still went back to those billboards. So the police were doing something. Things were moving. And yet she still said, oh, no, Willoughby's paid for these things, so we might as well just keep them going.
Right.
And so straight away, it's why? You've got shit happening now. Things are actually happening. In fact, it's almost looking entirely like the thing's going to get solved.
I think because she hasn't got the closure that she wanted.
And what would that closure be? Capturing the murderer?
I think knowing who the murderer was.
But I don't think it would make any difference, and that's my point. I think the core of her character is that flashback. And
yeah,
as long as that flashback exists, as long as that sits in her mind, it doesn't matter whether they catch him, whether they jail him, whether they never catch him, she will forever be lashing out at someone else for that problem.
Because I think in the flashback, I noticed this, Mildred's got quite long hair. And then you look at the very first scene where she drives up and sees all the billboards and they're a bit dilapidated and they got the old stuff from the 80s. And she's got long hair there as well. So this has taken quite a while to get to this point of actually having the billboards up.
Yeah, well, she's got to sell the tractor first to get the money.
Yeah. So there is some time lag there as well.
I love that clap back at her ex-husband when she goes, yeah, it costs about as much as a tractor.
Tractor trailer, yeah.
There's some great lines in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be no more cunts in this house. Why? Are you moving out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
is brilliant. Yeah, there are lots of stuff. There's lots of bits like that. But yeah, yeah, she's taken the time on this thing, but it does go back to that point of like the real growth is that she's eased up on the police, she's eased up on everyone else, but the fact of the matter is that final shot leaves you with an unsure feeling that actually she's just going to take it all out on this poor bloke. And I say poor bloke, but he's an arsehole. And I'm sure if she found out it was the guy who fucking threw the rabbit dead, she's going to do him a number. But the fact of the matter is, it's, you know, she's redirected her anger. She hasn't grown. Dixon's grown. Dixon's changed. Dixon's trying to improve himself, but she hasn't. She's just found a new target.
Well, Dixon has changed, but, you know, he's still a racist, and, you know, he still beat up black people and never paid any penance for that whatsoever.
Well, or for throwing someone out of a fucking window.
Well, he lost his job for that, and I think that was the way that was dealt with, wasn't it? It was just swept under the carpet. I think a lot of things...
I'm sorry, if I throw you out of a window, do you think I'm just going to get told, oh, you've lost your job?
No, but that's what happened.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, wouldn't he be in jail?
Yeah, you'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Because the new chief saw it all. He's just standing there with his coffee. But, yeah, Dixon, as much as he is on a redemption road, still a bastard.
Oh, God, yeah.
Still an absolute bastard. But I think it is about maybe finding yourself, maybe finding your path, maybe finding love as well. You know, there's some... Look at the characters we have, like even down to Peter Dinklage. He clearly is a drunk car salesman, as he says, but he realized he wants a date, and he's just looking for something. And when he gets it, and it's kind of thrown back in his face by Mildred, he's like, "Do you know what? No, can't do this. I'm off." And he kind of finds his way that I think that kind of centers him as well. Then you have the husband and the girlfriend. I was reading a book about polio or polo or something like that. There's so many good lines in this.
Samara Weaving in one of her earliest roles as well.
Yeah.
But you have them, and obviously Mildred and the husband have split up, and he still has them tendencies to throw up against the wall and strangle her because fuck that.
So the way the son reacted to that, fucking knife at the throat.
Knife to the throat, yeah.
He's done that before, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he hasn't, and that was the first time he did it. But yeah, it's something's not right in that family at all. But you know, you can see Mildred pass on the bottle of wine. That's kind of, I don't know whether that's breaking bread with him or what, but it is a symbol of moving on, I think. That was a grown-up movement of, okay, fine, this is a new line drawn here. And as you say, with Dixon jumping out the window, and reading the letter, that is the new line drawn there as well. And it does kind of revolve around Willoughby and him killing himself. Everything kind of... The more and more I think about this film, it is a 2-act movie, and you're meant to be thinking about there is a third act. And it is saying to you, no, you don't get it. These guys are moving on with their lives, and now you've got to move on with yours, because you ain't going to get this third one. And then it's possible that they're not going to get their third act in their lives, but we will never find out.
Yeah. I mean...
Anyway, that was my TED Talk.
I mean, okay. let's do this. Let's address the elephant in the room. The big one is Dixon, Sam Rockwell's character. Right now, we've kind of put forward a couple of theories, but maybe the general gist is that by acceptance, moving on, opening up your horizons, accepting love instead of hate, all that kind of thing. In a world that's been perpetually cruel, Dixon kind of embodies that. He's a cruel, idiotic, foolish, instinctive, impulsive arsehole.
Who's led by his mother as well.
Yeah, led by his mother. Yeah, missing
really
his father.
Poisoned, really, by her as well.
Especially in the line, oh, is there some other way of getting to her friends? You sort of like, oh, you malevolent cow. But by the end, he's the one who's done the 180. He's the one who's seen the light thanks to Willoughby. And by the end, he's the one who doesn't react. He plans, he understands, he thinks, he tries to not put himself first, and he deliberately does that whole thing of getting the DNA, taking a beating, taking the number down of the number plate. It doesn't pay off, but he's clearly changed. How do you feel about that character by the end? Because when I first saw it, I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's about redemption. It's about how he's improved, how Mildred's moved on, all these things. But by the end, the truth of the matter is he might be improving, but the fact of the matter is he's still a racist, angry, violent, self-loathing, drunkard ex-policeman who abuses power.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's done one good thing, is that redemption?
No, I don't think so.
No. I think it's a step on the road to redemption.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's two things for him. And one is that little interchange in the car where she says, I really have to tell you, it was me who talked to the police station. And he goes, yeah, I know. Yeah. But he's understood why she's done it. It's not, even though he's been badly burnt, he's took that on the chin. Which for a man that angry and that bitter, that's quite something. I said, it's not, here's your halo and there's your heart. You are a saint. Go on. You're good in the world. But they're important steps, I say, on the road to redemption. He might get there. He might not. But that's the fact he's been able to take those steps is more than some people ever will.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Darren, you were going to spark up. Go on.
Yeah. I think if you're expecting to be redeemed, then you're not doing things for the right reason. I think his character isn't even thinking about, I want redemption. I just think he's like, listen to the words of Willoughby. And it's just wanting to do the right thing. It's not anything about, I'll be forgiven after this. It's that whole thing of, I think that's where he's going with it. I don't get the sense that he's sitting there going, maybe I'll get redemption from this. I don't think he's thinking of that at all. I think he's kind of now looking at the situations and he's taking it a bit more seriously, and it's got to him. It's turning that part of his personality off, where he's kind of like tried to be hard to everything and treat things with a sense of humour. And that wall's broken down now because of Willoughby's advice to him. I think this is all, I don't think this is a redemption thing. I think this is just knowing that this thing is actually bad. Let's try and fix this. I realise what is going on here now, and I want this. This is pretty bad. I want this to not be this anymore. I want this. I want to. I'm going to do my best to try and make this right.
So he's looking for redemption. Or he's looking for self-improvement.
I don't think he's looking for anything like that. I think he sees that the thing. His eyes are open properly now. He's not treating life with everything with like a bit of a laugh. Like I say, I think it's fine. It's like somebody slapped him around the face and said, look over there. This is what's going on. Can you see it now? And it's the realization. It's finally, because he's opened himself up to, if you want to say love, it's making him look, and to take what's happened to that girl seriously.
Yeah.
And for him to think about what's gone on and to start feeling affected by it. And I think Willoughby's death, as tragic as it was, I think actually brought some good to his death wasn't in vain. And I think that's what Willoughby was all about. He didn't want to be a burden, as he said in his note, right? He wanted to be useful. And I think because he's got through to Dixon's character, you know what they say, if you can just save one, save one, then it's all worth it.
Yeah.
And I think this is it. And like I say, I don't think Dixon is thinking of, I want to be redeemed. I hope they forgive me. It's not, I don't think it's that at all. Like I say, I think he sees how terrible it all is. And it's like, I should be doing something about this. And I've got the power to do something about this. I'm going to use my skill. As Willoughby told me, I could be a really good police officer. And damn it, I'm going to use everything I've been taught, and I'm going to resolve this issue. This reminds me of an episode, actually. When he does that, it's a bit like a reverse thing that the TV series Luther, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a bit where Luther has to get a blood sample from this bloke to convict him. And so what he does is he disguises himself really badly. He puts like this woolly hat on, knows the bloke's walking down the street, walks towards him, and as he passes him, punches him in the face. And he's got the bloke's blood on his fist, and he puts that in a hanky and gives it over to the police guys, and they analyse it. He does the same thing here. He gets himself in that situation. Yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him. But the end goal is to get that evidence because of what he's heard behind him. And you know what? People have been convicted on stuff like that in the past. They've been mouthy. Years later, somebody's opened their mouth about, I did this, I did that. You only have to look at things like the Madeleine McCann case, right? They pulled a bloke because in prison, he was describing what had happened with the girl. He was, it's like me, I did it.
Interestingly, though, in terms of that whole bar interaction, do you not find it somewhat convenient of a film that's well written that earlier on the new chief says, sometimes these cold cases, we can't resolve them. Sometimes we get lucky. Sometimes we even hear someone talking in a bar.
Yeah, that was in his letter, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's right, Willoughby. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he go, and it's just like sometimes we even hear people talking in the bar, but otherwise you got no chance.
Do you know what? If they'd done that and they got the evidence and it had been the killer, then yeah. But that's not how it worked. That wasn't the case. No. So, as far as I'm concerned, it still ticks all the boxes. It gave you hope, thinking, but like everything else in that film, like the sort of situation it shows people's lives in, nothing, a lot of the time things don't go the way you hoped.
Yeah.
What do we?
Sorry, go on.
What do we think of the guy in the booth? Is he one of these guys that just talks the big talk on someone else's shit that he's done, because
No,
it's really weird that you have him talking in the booth about something that's happened, and Dixon latches onto that and then tries to take his DNA, but also he visits Mildred in the shop, and I don't know where he comes from. He just turns up, but he's acting as if he didn't do it, but he kind of knows what's going on. It feels like one of these crooks that have heard the story and kind of want to inject themselves into that mythology.
Well, he does say that he was a friend of Willoughby's.
But the wife
Or he
doesn't
knows
recognize
people.
him.
No.
Yeah,
Very true.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, as far as the guy goes, there's a lot you could dissect there. You could turn around and say, "Oh yeah, he worked," because the new police chief says, "I can't tell you, it's classified." And then then Dixon goes, "Oh come on, where was he?" And it's like, "Somewhere sandy." And it's like, that doesn't really narrow it down. But which is a good gag. But the thing is, it's like, there's a whole thing that this guy's got a cover up going on. Now, again, going back to what I was saying about subverting expectations, and even now I'm choking on those words because I fucking hate that phrase. But the thing is, the idea is, any other film would have had you go, "Oh, it's a government cover-up. He's a dodgy player of, he's someone to do with the military, but they don't want him going down for, rape and murder, so they've covered it up and said it's classified and all this sort of thing." But this film doesn't do that. It just says, "Sorry, wasn't the guy," But then you've got the whole thing of, well, will they kill this guy once they find him? On the one hand, you've got Dixon. You get the feeling that Dixon would actually be the moral one, but as soon as Mildred sees this guy, who's already turned up and terrorized her in her own shop, she will absolutely put 2 and 2 together and come up with 6. And she will fuck him up.
Quite probably, actually.
Because that's the thing. The one thing that we all forget is we've seen the guy, and we're all sitting there with the audience third-person perspective looking back in and going, "Oh, it's him." But she hasn't done that yet. She has no idea who Dixon's talking about. But as soon as she sees him, that is going to kick off something wrong.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing that by the end, when you think about it in those terms, by the end, Dixon's now the reasonable character, and the wild card is actually Mildred, and she will be that. She will be what Dixon is at the start. Reacting, instinctive. But, but the film leaves you with a kind of, oh, well, maybe they won't do anything. Maybe they'll be fine. Maybe they'll get there. But then it's also subverting expectations, because you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, there you go. It's all sorted. Thank you very much. Dixon's a changed man, and she's moved on, and, maybe they won't do anything once they get there. But the thing you forget, and I completely forgot until this second watch, was actually she has no idea who this guy is, but she never even saw him the second time.
That's true, yeah.
And as soon as she does, all that shit's going to come out like a fucking ton of bricks, and she is going to basically plant him in the ground.
Yeah.
which kind of undermines the whole finale of kind of like, hey, maybe everything will be fine. Did. Cut to
Oi.
black. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's not going to cut to black like that. You're going to cut to Idaho. She's going to roll in, see him, and just pull a gun on the fucker.
Yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
good.
Unless you guys think differently.
Is at least going to get some of his ornaments broken.
I think he will at least lose $7 out of his wallet. I
Yep.
guarantee for that fucking rabbit. Anyway, right, we're getting quite late.
Yep.
We're on to the midnight time hours now. So, has anyone got anything they'd like to bring up first before we wrap it up?
And a big hello to any truckers out there.
Yes. Hold on. Here we go. Black Dog ASMR. Welcome to Black Dog After Midnight. I'm just gonna open this can.
Can I just mention two things very
Yes, go for it.
briefly? Okay. Donald
No worries.
Sutherland got mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
What is this? A fucking Donald Sutherland season?
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
quite apt, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually.
It was. And it was Don't Look Now, which has the guy walking around Venice for 2.5 hours, and looking for his child who's died.
Ah.
Yes, yeah.
Did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, right. Don't Look Now. I won't spoil it for you because if that comes up on streaming, we will watch it.
Okay, cool.
But essentially, it starts off. Don't Look Now starts off with the death of his child.
Right, okay.
And then he and his wife go to a dreary, gloomy Venice on a sort of like reconnecting kind of holiday. Was it a working holiday, isn't it? Because he's a lecturer. And then he thinks he sees his child in Venice.
Oh, okay.
If you've never seen Don't Look Now, we will do Don't Look Now as soon as it appears on streaming. But
A bit like when Mildred was talking to the deer.
yes, it
I-
doesn't
I-
quite go the same way.
No, I know she covered that as well. One other thing, that single shot as well.
Which one?
The one, oh, were there more? Okay, so there was a single shot where Dixon walks over the road, smashes the window, walks up the stairs, throws Red out the window, walks down the stairs, punches him in the face, and back into the police station. All one continuous shot. Oh, and punches Pamela in the face as well.
Yeah. That. Sorry, I didn't realize what shot you were referring to. Sorry. Yes, that was quite impressive. I don't know if it was a continuous shot or if it was very cleverly edited.
It might be cleverly edited. I think it was a continuous one as well.
Well, that's cool. I'd have to look that up. But yeah, I do remember that being like kind of, oh, okay. No breaks. Poor old Red, he's lying there face down, covered in blood. Actually, the thing that impressed me more was the cut of him being hit in the face by Dixon.
Yeah.
And his face just exploded into red. And it was like, if it was special effects, which it most likely was, it was very well done because it was subtle. You suddenly went, fuck, that really did feel like something.
Squib to the face, that's all.
Squib to the face, yeah. But the thing is, you didn't see the squib.
No.
So either it was painted out or it was done from like squirting out the bottom of the gun or something. But it was done really well. I thought that whole scene was done very well.
Yeah. And one very, very tiny one that I listened to, like the Mark Commode review on this. And he mentioned about the director liking Psycho. And there's like a little nod to the billboards being down the road. Since the freeway's been built, no one ever goes down that road. So, and that was like the Bates Hotel as well.
So, and her house is up on the hill, away from the freeway as well, like the Bates house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Which is nice. Which is a nice nod. But does that how does that relate to the story?
It doesn't
Sorry.
relate to anything. It's just a nice little thing.
Oh no! Good, a nice little Easter egg. I'll get you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's how you do callbacks to other films.
Yeah. Then let's just not
Not repeating lines and same line again and again and again. And
Yeah.
don't get me started. Anyway, I'll shut up now. That's enough.
I get a
Make me
bad
laugh,
feeling about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fourth fucking shark movie. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Yeah, fuck off. Anyway. Cool. Okay. Well then, does anyone else have anything additional to add before we wrap this up? Jim?
I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. Darren?
No.
Okay. The ibuprofen has kicked in.
This is the voice of a man who's gone to a meeting that he didn't want to go to, and it's got to the section where people go, "Any questions?" and everybody looks around the room, and it's always one that goes, "I've got a question."
Yeah, one more thing. Fuck off.
Yep.
Fuck off, Rog.
Collective
Roger.
groan.
Fucking shut your mouth. Anyway, okay, fair enough. Okay, so while we tell Roger to shut the fuck up, let's just let's wrap this up. So, Jim, if anybody, well, before we do Jim, if anybody else has any thoughts
We're
on
doing
Three
Jim?
Billboards, well, we're going to get to Jim in a second.
I mean, we're doing Jim, are we?
Well, obviously,
Euphemism.
yeah.
Euphemism.
There you go.
Thank you. So before we do that, we will just say that if anybody has any other thoughts or anything they want to add to this discussion, about Three Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, as ever, send your feedbacks in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com or go on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, and leave a little bit of feedback underneath the episode, which will be up very shortly. Right. So, Jim, you missed last week's selection, so that's why we were doing this, which was Elton's choice. So it's back to you, sir. What film do you have for us for next week?
Well, this has sort of been previously discussed, and I believe Darren was going to pick this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so I'm just going to right the balance and give the people what they want. And I'm picking Godzilla -1.
Get in.
There we go.
Okay, right, fine. Godzilla -1. Cool.
Excellent.
Okay. Which is currently on Netflix, I believe.
It is indeed.
Cool. Well, let's go around the table. Jim, have you seen this film yet?
I have, yes. So
Yeah. Surprising no one, but
it's a rare film I'll go back to so soon, put it that way.
Okie dokie. Right, fine. Darren, have you seen this film?
No, I've seen a good many clips, and need to watch the whole thing. So
Okie dokie. And Elton, what about you?
I've seen about the first 20-25 minutes.
Okay, cool. And I have seen this film at the cinema.
at the cinema.
I did done see it at the
At
cinema.
the cinema.
Cinema.
Yes.
Yes. So I did done see this at the cinema.
A picture house.
At the cinematic theater. And yes, I'm quite looking forward to watching it again. Yes, it was a small screen cinema. Anyway.
Cinema equidistant.
Yes, cinema equidistant. So we will be back to watch Godzilla -1 next week. So now that we're going to do that, let's think of a phrase. Cinema equidistant, I think it'll do us. Seriously, we're on fumes here. It's 5 past midnight. So
Squib to the face.
Squib to the face.
nice.
Yeah, I like that actually. Let's do squib to the face.
Do we want to do a bit of add a bit of scat to it? Skibbity bippity doopity boo to the face.
To the face. Skitty bit
Squibity boo. Shibbity bop bop boo.
skip dop 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 pop 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 skip dop 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 to the face. Well, you've got a selection there, ladies and gentlemen. So pick one, stick it on the Facebook group. And now let's go over to Pimp's Corner. Jim, what's going on at hypnogoria.com?
Well, I have now actually completed my Roger Corman retrospective, which is in 5
Very good
parts,
it was too.
plus some additional episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, I am getting back on a kaiju tip and reading a pulp story about dinosaurs versus Martians.
Of
This
course.
weekend.
Okay.
Nice. And that's all over at
It
hypnogoria.com,
is
yeah?
indeed.
Lovely. And what about you? And what's happening over at rogue2media.com?
Me and Andy are talking about cars going round in circles on the Grand Prix podcast, and we are continuing to cover Band of Brothers on the Band of Brothers podcast. Now, I would ask people, because we did a shit version of it years and years ago, and we're putting these new ones on the old feed. But we got some shitty reviews on there. So yeah, if someone wants to try and test out the iTunes review thing, give us a 5-star review over there. That would be great. It might be broken, but go test it and help us out there. That's all I really ask. Thank you very much.
5 stars. Felt like I was on Normandy Beach.
That'd do.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That's all I need.
I feel like this podcast recreates the D-Day landings perfectly. Cool. Okay, and that's over at rogue2media.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. And what about you, Dow? Are you just you are sponsored by ibuprofen?
I am being sponsored by Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen? Yeah. And just that's it, is it?
That's about it. Yeah.
Lovely. And as previously mentioned earlier on in the podcast, you can find me over at the Great Derelict podcast, temporarily hosting a temporary episode of Space Dock Jury, Back from the Dead after 7 years. A bit like the Event Horizon, to be honest. And yes, where we will be reviewing, doing top trumps on the USS Cerritos from Star Trek Lower Decks, the Hodor, Fodor, whatever the fuck that thing's called from Andor, with the one with the laser beam sticking out the sides like a Ginsu blade, and then and the USS CSS Covenant, fucking piece of shit. And you can find that over at greatderelict.libsyn.com. And other than that, you can find me here. So we'll just leave it there. Say thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being back and sticking with us. And we'll see you all next week for Gojira -1. Until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
Gojira.
Oh, bollocks to it.